Chicago Blackhawks Central Hockey Podcast. I am Joe Vitale, and that is Skoks. Today, we will be going over the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow. And when this drops, it'll be tomorrow. So the 22nd of November, Blackout Wednesday. So, both teams kind of in a skid. We got to do the intro. Sorry. Stick with us.
I will
and
roll
we're going to be
yeah.
going over this Columbus Blue Jackets Chicago Blackhawks game.
Yep.
Blackhawks fans, welcome into that very choppy intro. This is the newest edition of the Chicago Blackhawks Central Hockey Podcast. Today we're previewing the game of the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. That is tomorrow, the 22nd of November. Now, Columbus Blue Jackets, the Chicago Blackhawks in a little bit of a skid now, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are in a straight free fall. So I find this actually kind of interesting. The Blackhawks are 5-11-0 on the year, so no overtime or shootout wins. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are 4-11-4. So they've got quick maths. That is 12 points to Chicago's 10 points, which is not looking good for the Hawks in the sense that because the Columbus Blue Jackets are on like a lose 9 skid, I want to say. No, sorry. They're losing. They're the same as the Blackhawks. Last 10 games for the Columbus Blue Jackets are 1-7-2. They've lost 4 straight, and for the Chicago Blackhawks, it's been 3-7. Also lost 4 straight. The goal leaders for the Columbus Blue Jackets is Boone Jenner. 19 games played, 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points, -5.
Captain Boone
Jenner. First line center Boone Jenner, I want to say.
1C. Okay.
And he does have 60 shots on the year, which I think it's up there. Besides Adam Fantilli.
Yeah, right.
That's the most on the team by like a lot. So good for Boone getting shots on net. So, as I said, both teams on losing streaks, losing 4. So, this is one of those I was talking offline with you, Skoks, and this is kind of a schedule gimme. There's not really any gimmies in the NHL, but you can, when you're a team like this, Damon Severson, probably their second best defenseman besides Zach Werenski. He's just announced he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Which is really unfortunate. They do have a surplus, they being the Columbus Blue Jackets, do have a surplus of defensemen, and they've made it known that they want to get rid of them. One of those ex-Blackhawk, Adam Boquist, the other one, Adam Peake. So it looks like one of those two will slot in, probably Peake over Boquist, just because, when he was with the Blackhawks, he wasn't really good in his conditioning. He was like, he got into games and he was like, they would ask him, he'd be like gassed, just absolutely sucking wind on the bench. And then, like a beat reporter would be like, hey, Adam, so, we see that you're like a little winded. Like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, I just didn't know what it took to be in the NHL. And it's like, buddy, come on. And so, he wasn't taking his conditioning seriously. He got he earned himself a trade. So maybe it kind of woke him up, but it doesn't appear to be that things are going as great. Johnny Gaudreau has 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points, 7 points in 19 games played. So, every 3 games he's getting a point. I mean, that's not $9.67 million or whatever it is he's getting paid. Same thing, Patrick Laine. Patrick Laine at least has an excuse for getting a concussion, but he has 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points in 9 games played.
That's unreal.
Same thing. Every 3 games he's getting a point, and he's got 2 more years at like $8.7 million. I mean, these are your stars that are not producing.
And they benched him for that third period a few days ago.
I think
and
Patrick Laine
too.
I think they health bombed him on Sunday.
Yeah. That's rough, man.
I mean, you gotta look at this big picture of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Okay, they get Johnny Gaudreau in last season, and you're like, oh, he's an elite player. They call him. I mean, for gosh sakes, they call him Johnny Hockey. They bring in Damon Severson. They commit to Goodbranson. They've got they've got all this injury trouble last season and bad luck, just flat out bad luck last season. So you think, okay, they can't repeat this. It's just not possible. Well, now you got Mike Babcock being a weirdo, so they fire him like two weeks before, or a week before training camp. Pascal Vincent comes in, and he's barely got a training camp to go with these guys. I think he's over coaching when he's benching these guys and he's health bombing these guys, your star players. Talk about a rock and a hard place for Pascal Vincent. He is in, he wants to get the max out of these players, but he doesn't really know them that well. And, he didn't really get a lot of time with him to give him the new system, the new scheme. And, I think Jarmo Kekalainen has a lot of blame in this. And, he's been in the Columbus for like 10 years, I want to say. 11 years. Like, he's been here for a really long time. And I think they beat Tampa Bay, and then they beat
with the bubble.
Yeah. And then they beat what was it? Toronto, I think, as well. So, you've got like
with Jones.
Right.
Seth Jones back then,
Exactly.
Just eating minutes. And I think that was that record-breaking game.
Yeah, he did like an hour.
It was like 3 overtimes or
5, I believe.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, crazy series. But I mean, you're talking in 11 years, 2 postseason victories. It's like,
that's rough.
And I get it. There was that, when they had Bob Panarin, and they had one other player, and they just let him walk. But it was just because they had to.
Yeah. I mean, Foligno was there a while ago, but
whoever, I thought there was a third player that they weren't able to nail down, that got through their fingers.
Ryan Johansson.
They traded,
or was he a little before?
I think that was a little bit before.
Yeah. I think he was there with Nick Foligno.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Johansson, I think they flipped for Seth Jones.
I think so. Yeah, from the
Preds, right? So, this is going to be an interesting game. 2 bottom of the barrel teams going to try and eke out a win. Now, that's all that for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We covered Damon Severson out, and then top stars Werenski not performing, Gaudreau not performing, Patrick Laine not performing. Pascal Vincent overcoaching a little bit, but put in a very, very bad spot by the GM, Jarmo Kekalainen. And then, So with the Blackhawks, though, there is
Hmm.
some news, albeit a little
Hmm.
bit, lesser, but
Right.
news nonetheless. So last game against the Buffalo Sabres, which just they just needed a little bit of push in that third
Hmm.
period. Only
Yeah.
one goal difference, but anyway, um, they put together the line, we'll call it.
Yeah. The line.
Reichel, Bedard, Kurashev,
Hmm.
and you know, at first, little rough, giving up a lot of
Yeah.
chances, not
Yeah.
really
First two shifts or so. Yeah.
just a defensive liability, full fledged.
Yeah.
And we see it with like maybe an Oilers or
Yeah.
let, less so the Maple Leafs, but like where they kind of load up those top lines.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when we're talking about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, it's going to work.
Hmm.
Talking about
Yeah.
Austin Matthews and Mitch
Hmm.
Marner, it's going to
Right.
work. Um, so we're not talking about that type of caliber of player quite yet, but it did
Hmm.
end up working, and I think
Yeah.
they're going to go forward with that uh, from now on. And
Yeah.
I love it. I want the offense, and
Right.
I do think that Kurashev, Bedard, and Reichel to a lesser extent for sure, but I
Hmm.
do believe that Bedard and Kurashev are decent defensively with the puck. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
and so that was awesome. And then now Coach Luke making a little bit of tweak to PP1. We've been
Oh
talking
yeah.
about it a lot. What if we got Korchinski, since he
Hmm.
is supposed to be, Seth Jones is probably our best defenseman now, but when we're
Hmm.
talking in 2 or 3 years, we're going to want Korchinski to take that next step, be that number
Right.
one. And this is a step in that direction, being on power play one, quarterbacking the power play.
Hmm.
In junior
Right.
Western Hockey League, he was on Seattle Thunderbirds, and
Yeah.
he was in every situation. He was PP1.
Oh yeah.
He was power kill one. He was,
Hmm.
or penalty kill. Um,
Hmm.
it was, he was first pair,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
rightfully so. So now this is just another good step in his development. See what happens. Have him just
Hmm.
flick it around, and hopefully cash in, get those power play numbers up, because it's
Yeah.
29th in the league right now, and it's not great.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, with Corch, even on that PP2, like that short time that they did have, because PP1 obviously takes up, I mean, out of a 2 minute power play, they probably eat up minute 30,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
sometimes more. They just, they want something that, find the back of the net. But when you saw Corch out there on PP2 in that just, very small, limited time, you can see his movement and his passing. Um, it's just different from Jones. Jones is really looking for that shot, like right down the middle, like almost every time, to finish out that shift, that PP1 shift. But Korchinski is just moving the puck, man. I think we're going to see some goals here pretty soon with him on that line. Just from his passing, really.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think Seth Jones shoots because he feels he has to, because he's the number one
Right.
defenseman,
Right. Right.
and I just don't personally think that his skill set is, he's a great two-way defender. So like, will he
Hmm.
get shots on net? Yes, of course. But like, he's also going to be using his stick to break
Right.
up plays and whatnot, and his big body to gain positioning
Yeah.
and get the puck out. So Korchinski is also big, but he's lanky right now. So I think he
Yeah.
has. I also think he has a little bit more offensive upside
Hmm.
than
Oh yeah.
than a Seth Jones. So I think that that's going to benefit it a lot. Whereas
Yeah.
Jones is he's shooting for a rebound, or he's shooting for whatever just to get it on net because he feels like
Right.
he needs
Right.
to, because he feels that the Luke Richardson's doctrine, if you will,
Yeah. Hmm.
needs him to do that.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. It seems just like from Jones, it's like a situational shot, right? Like you're looking for that deflection, looking for a bounce. But what I saw from Korchinski just in like juniors or even in like preseason, and then to now in a limited PP2 time, or even like in 5-on-5. I mean, he is moving the puck. I mean, his own movement and his passing is twice as good as Jones on that PP. Man, I really think it's going to open things up here. Uh, he's that like true point, right? Like not a point guard, obviously, but he's playing the point.
Right.
Uh, he's creating opportunities, not just by shooting, but by passing. And I think it's gonna heat up here, really.
Yeah. And yeah, I would agree with you. I really
Yeah.
think I like the experimentation that Luke is doing. I think it's getting
Yeah.
into the right direction.
Hmm.
Um, there is one thing I wanted to. Oh, that's right. Um, there's a new hockey podcast out there called Such Chaos, I want to say,
Yeah, it's like
or What Chaos,
what yeah, right, right,
and
right.
that's Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean. I don't know who that guy is, um,
Yeah.
but they interviewed today
Mhm.
Seth Jones and Nick Foligno,
Right.
and it wasn't anything groundbreaking. Um, honestly, they spent a lot of time talking about like the NBA, because Seth
Yeah.
Jones's dad is the
Mhm.
assistant coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Played
Mhm.
in the NBA
Yeah.
as well. Popeye Jones.
Popeye, yeah. Mhm.
Um, Seth's mom Amy brought Popeye up on when they on the mom's trip when they were talking to her. So,
Mhm.
um, what chaos? Go give it a listen. Uh,
Yeah.
if you,
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
always like to, I like to kind of know like what these players are about.
Yeah.
Um, and Seth and Nick both played with each other on the
Mhm.
Columbus Blue Jackets, as we were talking about. So
Right, right,
um,
right.
cool that they're not now that they're teammates on the Chicago Blackhawks. And so they
Yeah.
just they just shoot the breeze, and it's cool. It's way
Mhm.
less formal. And
Yeah.
at like like maybe like a 32 thoughts on like an NHL media day, you're not going to get
Mhm.
this type of stuff. Even with
No,
like
no.
Elliot, and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, go check that out.
Yeah.
Because some good Blackhawks content. Uh, talking about Bedard a
Oh,
little as well. It's good times.
yeah. The Hawks also released their second episode here of that like small like vlog type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Uh every shift, episode 2,
Oh, nice.
Bloodlines, switching it up a little. I think it's just covering the like the Florida trip, the mom's trip.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, a lot of coverage on like Felino
Nice.
and his family, just like messing around in the locker room. Not a whole lot of Bedard, so I guess they're just branching off a little with some airtime, right? But yeah, cool episode. It's like 20 minutes ish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So go check that out too. Straight from the
Mhm.
source. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to wrap up this edition of the Chicago Blackhawks Central Hockey Podcast. I've been Joe Vitale, and that's been Skoks. Hope you enjoyed the Columbus Blue Jackets preview, and we'll catch you after the game. And happy Thanksgiving. Go Hawks.
All right. Let's go Hawks.